What's happening YouTube is more motivation reactions, back for another reaction video. So, we're about to react to the disturbing truth about OnlyFans. This is an educational video, alright? If you're here for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're here once again, thank you so much for your support. I really hope and do you learn a lot from this video. I certainly can't wait to click this. Anywho, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, let's get it.
If you're new here, my name is Yolanda Melody. Today I want to talk about the agenda behind OnlyFans and the normalisation of sex work and what's really going on behind closed doors. Even though this video might offend some people who do sex work, I just want you to know that that's not my intention. There are some girls out there that have the intention of starting an OnlyFans with the idea that this is going to make them a ton of money. And I believe it's my duty to let people know the truth, because I do actually know some people who have started an OnlyFans, and the reality is not what people are showing in the media. In fact,
to be honest, it's become way too mainstream. Way too mainstream. Ever since that COVID year, it became very popular. Very, very popular. That's concerning.
In fact, the things that are projected in the media about OnlyFans are so far from the truth that it would shock you. And even though I'm focusing on that one site in particular, just bear in mind that I'm also talking about the sex industry in general. Some people may believe that it's a good thing that sex work is becoming normalised. They think it shows that our society is becoming more progressive and accepting, but I just want to mention one thing for any sex workers watching, that first off, the less taboo that industry becomes, the more people will feel comfortable to participate in it. The more girls will be on OnlyFans. And if you increase the supply, but the demand stays...
My only question to the ladies that do it, how do you feel behind closed doors? Like, I know the social media pictures, trips, perfect lighting, perfect angles. We see that you're happy in the photo, in the videos, but how are you actually behind closed doors? Because this is something that isn't talked about enough. The mental kind of damage these kind of activities can do long term. With everything comes cons and pros. And in this particular case, there's a lot of cons people escape talking about.
Stays the same. What then starts happening is people start undercutting each other. And then what happens is everybody starts doing the same thing for less. So for anybody who's in that industry, it's not actually in your best interest to normalise it and to get everybody to accept it.
To speak more to her point there, she's totally speaking facts. The more common something becomes, the less valuable it becomes. Alright? If you normalize something like this, if the pays were really, really high in the beginning, it's going to get pretty low to do pretty degrading things on camera. Deep down, do you want to do that? Do you want to do that deep down? Do you like doing that? I'm for sure convinced the women that do OnlyFans don't like men. They can't. They can't. It's a traumatic experience. They can't like men. Because you're just a piece of meat. That's what you're basically getting. So that's going to be your only perception. So, in turn, you're going to hate men. Anywho.
Because then you will be doing the same things for a lot less money. And you'll have a lot more competition. And this is what's happened with OnlyFans. Now, if you ask my personal opinion, you could never put a price on your sexuality and your dignity. But the fact...
You can never put a price on yourself. That's facts. Facts. The human spirit is everything. No amount of money can replace it. No amount of money can replace it. The spirit lives on forever. So the things you do in your body, with your body, soul, it's It somehow affects where your spirit is going to be. It's powerful. You cannot just do things to degrade it like that. You just can't. It's too valuable.
The fact that OnlyFans girls are selling themselves in this way for such little payoff now, I genuinely believe it is tragic. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, hold on a minute, I thought that OnlyFans girls make an absolute stack. This is a misconception. The media would like you to believe that any girl can join OnlyFans and she'll have a flood of subscribers instantaneously. She'll be able to quit her job and start earning upwards of 60k a year. Some even become millionaires, supposedly, and that it's an easy way to make money. Well, let me tell you this, the only people making that amount of money are the top 1%. Some of which are celebrities already, or influencers with a big following. But for any other normal girl that's just starting out on this website, the majority of them are making less than minimum wage. And they're making explicit content. Sometimes custom made.
100,000 subscribers makes you a successful creator. We all know that's not quite the...
Not only...
I really deep down do feel bad if you have to get to that point. I really do. Because it's a mode of survival. You're doing whatever it takes to survive, basically. I mean, the media can show you one thing about how happy these people are that do it, but deep down it cannot feel good. It can't. I'm just trying to find in myself what could the reasons be, why, but deep down you just can't feel good doing that stuff long term. You just can't.
Not only that, but they're working the same amount of hours to try and gain the subscribers as they would working a full-time job. But the only difference is that a lot of them are doing that and barely making enough to survive.
It's crazy, man.
But the plot thickens, because the reason why you're not hearing about this is because OnlyFans works in a very particular way, whereby if you have an OnlyFans and you recruit someone to join the site and become a creator themselves, you could potentially earn money from what they're doing. Kind of sounds like a pyramid scheme. And this is why so many OnlyFans girls say that they're earning so much money, because they don't want to admit the truth to either themselves or other people. Because let's paint this scenario,
tragic, man. It's
right?
tragic.
Say, for example, you've started an account and suddenly it's dawned on you, after months of being a creator on this site, you're not making the millions that you were promised. And no matter how much work you put in, and how much you're willing to go past what you initially planned to do, as in, you start doing stuff that you're not really comfortable with because there's the potential to earn more
No
money.
person should go
You'd then
through
reach
that.
a point
No
where you
person.
think, okay, I've started down this path, maybe a way that I could...
No person should go through that. No person. No person. You may think, oh, it's because you like the attention you're getting from it, but deep down you really don't feel good doing it. You don't. No person should go through that. No person. We gotta think about it from the perspective of the person doing it and how they feel about doing it from a deep down level. Not the attention they get from it, or not the money they get from it. How do they really feel doing that activity? It cannot feel good deep down. It can't. It's, I don't know how low you get to the point it feels good doing it. I don't know. Anywho, let me continue.
I could get out of it is if I get loads of other people onto the site so that I can earn from them, and maybe eventually I can get out of this. This is what I feel is happening to a lot of girls that are on this site. There might be some girls watching right now that think that I'm being harsh or that I'm shaming them, but this is actually coming from a place of love, genuinely. I've heard so many girls turn around and say, I love doing this. This is so great. I love working for myself. I feel independent. But the truth is, no woman...
It's good to work for yourself, of course, but to do things you deep down don't want to do, to get not even minimum wage, cannot feel good deep down. It can't. Attention can destroy a person. Having too much money, having too much attention from the opposite sex, having too much resources, having too much of anything to a person that isn't mentally mature can destroy them. Can destroy them. And I'm not trying to say they're not mentally mature, but when you get so much of that dopamine, you'll feel okay doing degrading things. You'll feel okay. We're all human. We all like attention. We all like affection. Words of affirmation. We all love that. We're people. We get sucked into it. Sometimes, in my own mind, when people say positive things to me, I know it's just words. Because words are nothing without actions. But even still, I get freaked. Why? Because we're human. That's something to understand. Attention can destroy people. And this is what I'm seeing right here.
Woman actually wants to do this. Really. If they weren't getting paid to do it, they wouldn't be doing it. Some of these girls feel like they don't have any other option. And I can understand them telling themselves, I love what I do, because the harsh reality of what they are actually doing to their mental and physical health is probably too hard to face. But what I think we should do as a society is we should remove a stigma from a person if they decide to change. A lot of these girls feel like once they've lost their dignity, they can't get it back. Once you've gone that far, you know that certain people will look at you differently, and a lot of girls will think, well, fuck it, I'll just carry on then. I've got nothing more to lose.
And this is something I talked to my mother about, this particular topic when it comes to Christians in general, right? How to sort of be more inviting, not be in a place of so much judgment that will repel people. You know what I mean? And something she said there gets my attention so much. People in such a low point, I mean, a point you did the most degrading things and you think that there's no way you can change. There's no way. Once a certain way, you remain a certain way. It couldn't be further from the truth. All of us have the capability to change. It's just about how much we're willing to do in order to have that change. But something she said there it got me instantly. It got me.
But the effect that this has on a woman is quite profound. If a woman is abusing her sexuality or inducing some form of sexual trauma, which I believe OnlyFans is doing to girls, a lot of them start to experience physical illness in that region because that's what happens. Your physical, spiritual, and mental health is all linked up together. I've heard experiences from girls whereby they've started to develop issues with their ovaries or their womb the more that they started abusing themselves sexually. I have never been in the sex industry, but I used to model, and even doing modeling in lingerie for photographers affected me so much in a negative way. My self-esteem plummeted because I didn't feel like I was respecting myself and I was being objectified all the time. So I can...
And the thing too, like when we look at these women on social media, we think that they're the most confident, they're the most like, they got everything figured out, they're the most secure, all that. Oftentimes they're the most insecure, right? Because of what she said right there. They'll be objectified. But the thing is too though, when you talk to this kind of women, when you're anything but what they receive, they don't know how to react to it. They don't know how to react to it. That's why the stupid stigma, nice guys finish last, comes in play. They feel deep down they don't deserve that treatment. They deserve to be treated like crap. That's why they gravitate towards that. It's trauma. It's a cycle of trauma. And the best way to be mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, and healthy in spirit is to avoid people that have too much trauma. You can be pretty on the outside, but there's so much things you went through that you can be the most amazing person. All right, you look good, you're mentally fit, physically fit, in spirit fit. But the fact that the person went through a lot of trauma, they cannot see that. They want to be abused. They want to be, mistreated. That's what they face. And some people like that because of their past. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm talking a bit too much.
I can only begin to imagine how a girl must feel doing sex work. And we really need to just stop being worried about offending everyone. Because being offended hurts, but making a huge life mistake is tragic.
Yeah.
And if you have the knowledge, or if you have good advice to give to someone, but you're worried about them being offended, so you just don't say anything, then you have to stand by and watch someone make a huge mistake, and all the while you're thinking to yourself, I could have stopped that. I could have helped them.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have made this video back in 2020 when there was an influx of girls joining this site, but back then I didn't really know the full extent of what was happening. Now I have the information. So another thing is, if the reality of being a sex worker is so bleak, then why is it promoted so much in the media and painted out as if it's this get-rich-quick scheme? Even if you look back 10 years or so, we had shows like Diary of a Call Girl, all about this prostitute that was living her best life. She loved her job. They glamorized it so much, making out as if it was such an amazing lifestyle.
Women, you don't need to do all that. You really don't. You really don't. You don't. Guys, if you want attention from guys are simple, man. Simple. All I want is peace, appreciation. Peace and appreciation. Peace, appreciation, respect. That's it. If you're pretty with it, you have the character, and you can provide appreciation, respect. That's it, man. That's it. Guys are simple. You don't need to do too much. You don't need to open your legs to every guy. You don't need extra. I don't know what guy told women they need to do this. You guys don't need to do this. You don't. Guys are simple. If your objective is looking for a man, or you're trying to get, I don't know what your objective is, but if it's to get a man, guys are simple. Believe me, they're simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it.
But we know that the reality of being a call girl is riddled with danger. I mean, let me just tell you a brief story. When I was a waitress, I was working at the bar at a private event where there were escorts. I can't give too much details about this story because there was a lot of high-profile people at this event. Throughout the evening, I was seeing how these girls were being treated, and I honestly felt traumatized just from witnessing it. The level of empathy that I felt for these girls was so intense, and there was this one girl that I saw who had a scar right across her face. Do you think that that girl was living her best life? The only plus point really is that OnlyFans is a bit safer because there's no pimps involved, most of the time anyway, but that's changing rapidly, and at least the girls can do what they do from the safety of their own home. But it's still not safe. Yeah. The type of people that this attracts will make them a target. It's kind of weird how history repeats itself. Because back in the Great Depression, prostitution became rampant because all of a sudden the cost of living became so bad that women reverted to sex work as a means to survive because they...
Yeah, this is something I really saw when I went down to down south. I saw this a lot. I'm not going to say any country in particular, but I saw it a lot. People are just doing whatever they need to do to survive, to get their next meal. And I really feel for people that have to be in that position. But no one should go through this. No one. No one. We live in the day of social media. We live in the day of a lot of information, a lot of opportunities. There's other ways to make income. There's other ways. There's other ways. You don't need to do that. You don't need to, because long term, it's not going to help you in general. It's not. You may hate what I say, but so be it. No one likes me anyway because I tell the truth. No one likes me anyway because I'm willing to be honest with you. No one likes me anyway because I'm not trying to appease to what you want me to appease to. Okay? It's fine. I'm willing to tell the truth and be hated to save lives. That's the whole point.
They could see no other way out. But back then it wasn't promoted as if it was this really great thing. It was desperate times. Now they've got people trapped. Now what's happening is the exact same thing, but in a different way. 2020 happened, there was furlough, people lost their jobs, everyone was stuck at home, people were worried about how they were going to pay the bills, and then simultaneously, all of this hype happens around OnlyFans. Yeah. There was tons of media coverage about it, but the difference between then and now is that back then, you didn't have social media and video and photo evidence of what you had done. Now, even if you were to dip your feet in OnlyFans and then decide it's not for you, guess what? That footage is there forever. It's an evil trick, and it is an agenda to trap women, to lower the morale of society. And it affects men as well, but in a completely different way. And if you want to know more about that, you should check out my other video about the porn industry. But to end this video on a lighter note, I just want to say that while I don't believe we should be normalising and celebrating sex work, I also don't believe that we should be flat out shaming women who have fallen for this trap. Take it from me. Back when I used to be a model, people treated me a certain way. I didn't feel like people respected me, but because I changed and started to respect myself, I do feel generally like people give that respect back. But ultimately, it's not about how other people perceive you. The most important thing is how you perceive yourself. I just
Facts, man. Very educational video. But the final verdict or my final thoughts, to be honest, just don't lose your integrity. Don't lose what you believe. Always be mindful that all the things you do have side effects, whether if it's instantly or later on in the future. Nobody should have to go through that. There's many different ways to make income. There's many different ways to get positive attention. Because we're human. We all want attention. We all want affection. It's normal. But to get to a certain stage, it does more damage than good to society, to the people doing it, and to the opposite sex consuming it. That's it for my video. Thank you so much for watching this reaction. If you want to see more reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let me know what reactions you want me to react to. I can definitely do that. Like always, get better every day. Optimize yourself. God bless.